Vicki. I'd like to call to order the City of Douglasville's regular City Council meeting for tonight, which is Monday, June the 1st. Our invocation will be done by Pastor Ted Turner of Heritage Baptist Church, and then we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Terry Miller. So if you please don't mind, if you're able, please stand for the invocation. See here.
Pastor Chairman, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we're ready.
Are you ready for me?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I'd just like to say, we're in trying times this day and age. And you guys, I just want to encourage y'all because y'all do an awesome job, and I'm just proud to be partnering with y'all. And I just pray for y'all every day, and I just thank y'all for the great job y'all do. And I'd just like for y'all, if you would, just bow your heads and just pray with me, and we're going to pray. Father, we just thank you.
And
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, and we appreciate the prayers. Pastor Turner, we certainly can feel the prayers. We appreciate that support. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council regular meeting for tonight. This is a voting meeting. I'm Douglasville's Mayor, Rochelle Robinson. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in whole or in part by teleconference. All of our elected officials and individuals with agenda items are present, and those wishing to comment during a public hearing, comments from citizens and delegates will be allowed to do so audio via Zoom software. This open meeting of the Douglasville Mayor and City Council is being conducted by teleconference consistent with Official Code of Georgia annotated Section 50-14-1G due to emergency conditions involving public safety in order to mitigate the transmission of the coronavirus and to reduce the risk of COVID-19 illness. That code section, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows local governments to meet by teleconference in the event of an emergency, so long as means are afforded for the public to have simultaneous access to the teleconference meeting. For this meeting, we are convening partially by Zoom software, as shown on the city's website describing how the public may join, which is via YouTube media platform. For applicants and all other participants, be advised that this meeting will allow public comment as well. Even if the members of the public do not provide comment, participants are advised that people may be listening who do not provide comment, and listeners are not required to identify themselves. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Okay, we'll go through, we don't have to do roll call at this time because we are all present. Council members were social distancing, so I don't have to do the roll call, and that was on our last meeting. So I will give you instructions for how the meeting will take place, the protocol for that. And I would ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You receive a warning from the chair. If you deviate from this requirement, a second deviation will result in the chair discontinuing your opportunity to speak, whether in person or electronically. We'd ask one person to speak at a time. Please do not disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. And I'll remind you that we are only required to accept public comments during required public hearings. We are not required to accept public comments on other items before this council. And we ask that you would have your items that are germane to city business. If you have a cell phone or iPad or all those electronic devices, please put those in silent mode or turn them off so they'll not be disruptive. And the agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. Then the person representing the agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation. That will be your only opportunity to come forward. We ask that you would keep your comments to that time that you are presenting and not have a banter back and forth interrupting the chairperson as we go through that item. Then myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions or seeking more information that we did not receive at our work session last Thursday to help us make our decision. After that, the chairperson will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There's a maximum of 20 minutes for those who speak in favor and 20 minutes for those who speak in opposition. I guess it's changed from 30, and each person has 5 minutes. If you are calling in Zoom, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking and say your name clearly and your address for the record. And each person has one opportunity to speak, no reappearances if you think of something you forgot initially. And this meeting is not a question and answer format. It's not a debate format. We're here to receive information to help us make our decisions. And please address your comments to the chair, not to members of the audience or to staff or to any other applicant. Speak to the chairperson. If your information is repetitive or information presented earlier in this meeting or any other meetings, there's no need to present the same information again. If your information is repetitive, I'll remind you that when you request to move on for the information that you've already prepared, if we've already have that. Our policy requires that printed information used for review to be submitted in advance to the city clerk's office to be included in each council member's work packet. Therefore, I ask that you would not submit written information to the council during the meeting or after the meeting. This includes comments from citizens and delegates. So those are all of our instructions on how the meeting will be held this evening. And we will, after having said that and read all of those instructions, we'll move on to the agenda, which is printed. If you'd like to speak and you're here, there is a form that you should have filled out to put your name and address for the record and then come forward and give your name and address. And you have 5 minutes, of course, for any information that is germane to City of Douglasville business. But if not, Ms. Jackson, do we have anyone that, our Assistant City Manager, that's filled out online that would like to speak? I would like to recognize them. But if not, then we'll do that at the time when we ask for comments from citizens and delegates. All righty. So we move on now. We've had our pledge, and we'll go to the first item on the agenda. Number 5 is minutes from the legislative work session of June the 14th, 2020, and the regular meeting of June 18th, 2020. Open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes.
Move to accept the minutes as presented, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro
Do
Tem.
we need to change the date?
It's not the 14th and 18th?
It is, but it's May, not June.
Oh, it says June. And I read it just the way it is.
The
Thank you.
attachments are correct, but in our agenda, it's dated wrong.
Let me see.
Ms. Acker has it correct in her system.
I apologize. I was still refreshing on
I
my
would like to-
iPad, so I was looking at the paper.
I will amend my motion to accept the minutes as presented from the May meetings rather than the future June meetings.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you so much. Let me see. It does have it on the thing. It finished refreshing, so I apologize. So I take the amended motion to approve the minutes for June the 14th at the regular meeting of, and June 18th. May. It says June on here too.
I know. That's the reason we're correcting it.
Okay. May the 14th and May the 18th. I apologize. I'm reading. I need to let it sink in. Thank you so much, council members. So I have a motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Councilmember Adams. And our correction was done by Councilmember Estes. Are there any other corrections or additions or comments about the minutes as presented from council members? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving the minutes The legislative work session of May 14th and regular meeting of May the 18th, item 20-260. Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. And City Manager, you said they were advertised correctly?
That is correct. She has it
Okay.
correct in her system, yes, ma'am.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Now I have the consent agenda. Open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from council members, or any corrections or deletions, whatever? No? All those in favor of approving the second.
Second on
I
that?
didn't have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, if you don't see any corrections or comments, any concerns? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We'll move on.
Point of order, Madam Mayor, were you going to do item number 4, presentation, or was that
It doesn't, the
taken off
announcements?
your agenda? It's on mine.
No, I don't have anything on here.
Okay.
Is there something on the, for,
It's been taken off. I just
Presentations?
did not refresh mine, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Seems to be we're catching up. We're getting back into where we were physically. We were doing Zoom for the past 2+ so months, so just getting adjusted. Little bumps in the road. But thank you so much for bringing that up, and we'll move on to item number 7, which is Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Housing and Community Affairs Committee, that is chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No business tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Item number 10 is Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. 11, Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in personal and organization.
Thank you so much, Coach. Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 2 items tonight. Both are city business.
Yes, sir.
I will read both of them, and then if it's okay, I'll have Ms. Williams come up in case we have any other questions.
Yes, sir.
First is consider a request for revised plat approval for the city of Douglasville for the purpose of subdividing into 2 tracts, 0.52 acres at 6740 West Spring Street in land lot 16, District 1, Section 5D, parcel 89, application by the city of Douglasville. That's item 20-186. And Ms. Patrice Williams, if you'd like to go ahead and update us on any new information as of Thursday night on that item.
Okay. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, City of Douglasville, 6701 Church Street. At this time, we don't have anything new to add regarding this item.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions that council or Madam Mayor may have come up with between Thursday and tonight on this item? Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, are there any public comments? Anyone have any public comment concerning this item? Seeing none, I make a motion that we approve item 20-186.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 20-186. Any, as the chair has asked, we have any additional comments or questions from council members? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 20-186 is approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll move on to item B, hold a public hearing and consider a request to rezone city-owned property at 6740 West Spring Street, 0.141 acres in land lot 16, District 1, Section 5D, parcel 89, from public, semi-public district to general commercial district with principal and accessory uses limited to school, kindergarten, elementary, and secondary private. Application by City of Douglasville. Ms. Williams?
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. As you all know, these items were initiated by the city with the consideration of the current tenants. So that's how we got here with these items.
Any questions or comments from council or Madam Mayor? This is a public hearing. I want to make sure that we give the opportunity for those that might have come to speak on behalf or against this item. Please come forward at this time. Identify yourself, or if there's anyone that is speaking via telephone, we would like to hear from you at this time. Do you know of anyone, Ms. Hampton?
No, sir.
Thank you. Seeing none, then we will close the public hearing, and if there are no other questions or comments from council or Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve item 20-077. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved in second to approve this item. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? Thank you. Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 20-077 is approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to item Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have one item this evening,
Mhm.
and as we discussed in our work session, we would like to table that to our June 11th and 15th round, if that's okay.
Okay. I have a motion to table item 20-250 to the June 11th and 14th meeting. Are those the dates? Let me make certain.
I second that motion.
Do I have the right dates? Is that correct, City Manager? Make it my June 11th and 15th. Okay. Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. It's been properly moved by the chair, Councilmember Miller and Nicole Miller, and seconded by Councilmember Adams to table item 20-250 to the June meetings of June 11th and 15th, 2020. Do we have any questions or comments from council members? All those in favor of tabling this item, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 20-250 is tabled to the meetings of June 11th and 15th, 2020 unanimously.
Madam Mayor, we have no other business this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll move on now. We did Public Relations Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For Public Relations, we don't have any business to go before council tonight, but I would like to make one brief
Yes, sir.
statement and to congratulate Jason Post and the Community Relations Department, who recently received a 2020 Award of Excellence from the 26th Annual Communicator Awards
Wow.
for our Douglasville Impact podcast. So well done, Jason and staff.
Woohoo! Very good. That's so exciting. They do a stellar job, and everyone knows it, so just getting attaboys for continuing to do such a wonderful job. Jason's been a great public relations officer. So thank you so much, Councilman Estes. We'll move on then to Public Improvement. We've done that one. Public Safety Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. May I have a couple items? First, item A, authorize the Douglasville Police Department to apply for the 2020 Bulletproof Vest Grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, Bureau of Justice Assistance in the amount of $29,337 for half the cost of the 77 bulletproof vests. I'll call on our city manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, if you recall, the major indicated that he wanted to change those numbers in the grant, so you will see those numbers have been edited, so the correct numbers are before you. Unfortunately, your command staff members are not with you. They're handling some public safety issues out in the field, so we do have Lieutenant Mars here who said he would defer to me, so I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, we have a question from the council. Mayor?
No, sir.
If not, I make a motion we approve item A,
Thank-
20-227.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I had a simultaneous. I don't know if anyone hit their buttons or what's going on. Did you all get Ms. Vicky? Our city clerk, did you get Councilman Adams? Okay. It's been properly moved and second by the chair, Councilman Davis, and second by Councilman Adams to approve item 20-227. Do we have any additional questions or comments as it relates to this item for Lieutenant Mars? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, unanimously approved. 20-227.
Okay, our next item is item B, hold a public hearing to consider a request for the alcoholic beverages license for the on-premises sale and consumption of wine and malt beverage at the following establishment. License, MTI Services LLC, DBA, Nancy Pizza, location 2987 Chapel Hill Road, Suite 103, proposed agent outlet manager Michael Lynn Dinks. The required fees have been paid into the finance department. Will the applicant please come down, please? Good afternoon. State your name and
My name's Lynn Deese. Address is 2987 Chapel Hill Road, Suite 103 and 104. It's both suites.
okay, good. Before we make our motion, do we have any questions from our mayor and council for Nancy Pizza? We good?
Keep spending pizzas.
Thank you all for coming back. I will make a motion to approve
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have
item
a
number
motion.
20-248, okay?
I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion to approve item 20-248.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and second by Mayor Pro Tem to approve 20-248. Do we have any questions or comments for Nancy's Pizza for Mr. Dees? Thank you. We're giving you all the accolades last Thursday, making us want to come get some pizza.
Thank you.
So, oh, you're welcome. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 20-248 is unanimously approved. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight. Authorize the mayor to sign the First Amendment to agreement with John Pearson, amending the parties' agreement of June 19th, 2019 to reduce hours of security service at city parks. I'd like to ask if Mr. Landrum, Mr. Landrum's coming forward, if he has anything new to add or to bring up on this matter.
Good evening, Travis Landrum, Parks and Recreation Director, 8830 Gurley Road. I do not have any additional information to add to this item.
And Ms. Hampton, do you have anything to add to this?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, is there any questions or comments? I'll start with Mayor.
I don't have any. No, sir.
Anybody on the council?
Yes, Coach,
Yes,
just
sir.
to make sure that I understand that this amendment that is being considered or being approved, of course, will be contingent upon Mr. Pearson's acceptance of the same. Is that correct? And we're talking about the numbers that basically were already approved in the budget that we approved last Thursday, as far as numbers that are available for that contract, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I'd like to make a motion to approve item 20-255.
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. It says work schedule in this page. It has agrees to pay Pearson a sum of $104,000 for 6946 total manpowers and security. Did we change the amount?
No, ma'am. If you're looking at that attachment, that's the current agreement that was attached last week for review.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make certain because I see the one that says the first amendment to agreement, and so you were just attaching for our FYI.
Yes, ma'am.
The entire previous one, and then now what we have a comparison.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I apologize because it did have 2020 on there and 2021. I just wanted to make
Yes,
certain.
ma'am.
Thank you. I apologize for interrupting. Thank you, Mr. Landrum.
I think we did have a second, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure who.
Sam Davis, second.
Okay. So it's been properly moved and moved by the chair to approve and second by Councilmember Davis, who is the vice chair. Are there any other questions or comments from council members? Thank you. Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving item 20-255, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. This item is unanimously approved. Is that all you have, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all the items we had under Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Technology Committee.
Thank you, sir. We'll continue to move on our agenda. Transportation Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under transportation tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Is there any other business to come before council tonight from council members? Had a couple of, go ahead, Councilman Davis.
Madam Mayor, I have in other business to come in. I want to thank all our men in blue and brown. Today was a great day. I was with the protesters all day and talking and speaking to some of those young people, and there was a lot of Douglas County teachers out there that had their students out. Parents were dropping off kids and showing them how to go about doing a peaceful protest, and it was great. I was amazed. Sheriff Pound and I talked with the chief, and I communicated with our city manager, and the kids out there, they learn how to protect their rights, and it was good. Seen a lot of familiar faces and school teachers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Davis. I was going to make a comment about that. I appreciate you saying that. Of course, the first thing I want to say was I read a note that came to the council. It's Honorable Mayor Robinson, the City Council of Douglasville. My family and I would like to thank you for your beautiful peace lily and your goodwill. We understand your time is very valuable. So the fact that you've taken time out of your day for heartfelt condolences is very comforting. We pray you and all of you will continue to have great success in the city, and that you and your families will be blessed. Gratefully yours, Wilford S. Smith and family. And that's our former vice chair of the Planning Commission Zoning Board, as he lost his mother to COVID-19 a couple of weeks ago, and the city was gracious enough to send him a peace lily. So we appreciate that. We did have, just like Councilmember Davis has said, based on everything that's happening in our country, and with the death of Mr. George Floyd in Minnesota, there have been, of course, rallies all over the country, protests, and in some instances, some rioting, unfortunately. And so we did have 2 peaceful marches in the city of Douglasville. One was Sunday morning on Fairburn Road without incident, and today, and those were about 30 or 40 people, and today's march or protest was at Arbor Place Mall, and there were about 100 people
No, it was
there.
350.
Oh, it was 350.
About 350. I talked with one of the officers. And the organizer was 2 young graduates from Little Spring High School, and they did a wonderful job. They would walk around giving out masks, letting people know who the organizer was, and they was glad to see one of the city officials out there making sure that thing was going to be done the right way.
Well, thank you so much, Councilman Davis. I'm glad you were the man on the scene. I was just getting reports, so we appreciate that. And as you've already said, we appreciate the Douglasville Police Department, the Sheriff's Department with Sheriff Pounds, the Fire Department, Chief Spencer, and Madam Chair, and everyone in the community that's come together. And we appreciate so much that citizens and visitors listened and were able to have a clear message without any incidents. Now, we had a couple of things the night before, but that's an open investigation, so we're not going to talk about that. Okay, so now we will go to, now someone sent me, did you want me to do comments from citizens and delegates before? Okay, thank you so much, that we did have someone signed up. Okay, any other business from council members? Thank you, not seeing any. We'll go to item number 20, which is updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson. You have anything, Mr. Dotson?
Ma'am, no business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Our Chief of Police, the chief isn't here, but he sent great representation. The lieutenant, do you have any comments, sir, from the PD?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and what you do for us. Our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. As Councilman Davis has mentioned, throughout the last several days, the police department has been working with those citizens who are out exercising their right to protest. So crowds grew today, so that's why we have Lieutenant Morris with us today. But everyone is out having a peaceful protest, which is what we want, and most importantly, a safe protest. So we will have some follow-up with you guys sometime later on this week once we get the information and the data and the total as to how things finalize today. We are prepared for the remainder of the week to manage anybody who will continue to want to exercise their right to protest. If you know, the governor has extended his emergency order through the weekend, so we're following suit with that. Inclusive of the governor's emergency order, he's also updated his executive order related to COVID-19, so that was effective today. There were some changes there that we are expecting that he's going to gradually open things up and change things over the next couple of weeks, so we're being mindful of that and adjusting our schedule and operations with the city in accordance with Governor Kemp. Also, just a final thing to remind you all, the chief and I are in constant contact, of course. He's not on the scene, but he knows everything that is going on there. And as soon as I get information on anything that's happening, we'll make certain to send that out. So if you all have any questions, just make certain to let me know. But that's all I have to report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you so much, City Manager. Now we'll move on to our staff reports. We do have one for Personnel and Organization Committee, and if you don't mind taking that for me, please. Councilman Watts, you have the next two under staff reports.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, thank you. Item A is a staff update regarding NFP broker services presentation. Ms. Alston Bing.
Thank you,
Take
Mr.
it.
Chairman. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Tia Alston Bing, 6695 Church Street, Human Resources Director. I am here tonight to provide you an update from Thursday's night meeting as it relates to the presentation that you heard from NFP regarding broker services. There is some information that I would like to give you in addition to that presentation, and then some HR department information that I want to share with you for the record. So first, I wanted to provide you with an update on the NFP ADP partnership, and hearing from NFP today, their go live with that partnership will be this Thursday. I think that's June the 4th. So they did make me aware that that is when their timeline would begin with ADP. So with that timeline, we would just expect from an HR standpoint that we would meet immediately with NFP following that. To discuss our high-level HR needs as it relates to us using ADP as a software for our HRIS system, because that's very important. One of the things we would like to meet to discuss after they roll that out would be a partnership on a high level with our carriers, and so that we expect that relationship with in partnership with ADP to afford that to us for our staff. Also, an overview of ADP's detailed partner portal access, so what access they would have, and us being aware of what that access looks like with ADP. Also, we would like to know who NFP will identify as their dedicated service team. So that's part of their response to us today as it relates to the rollout and going live. And then the last thing is any other specific ADP partner benefits. We would like to know exactly what those are, so that in turn our staff can best utilize our current broker services. So regardless of where you all decide for us to be in 2021, those are things that we are going to need from an HR standpoint, because we're not moving away from ADP anytime soon. So those are our high-level HR needs. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that, and for the record that we did follow up with NFP, and they are going live with the partnership Thursday, and then we in turn expect to meet with them immediately to be able to talk about what that partnership looks like for right now. So I just wanted to give you that update.
Thank you, Ms. Alston Bing. We have any questions?
I do.
Councilman Adams.
Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bean, I appreciate you updating us on that, because I was curious. I know that the other two that had already made presentations over the last couple of months, did they not already have a relationship with ADP? And so this last group that we interviewed or that came and made a presentation, they were short in that area as far as of the time that they made their presentation. But they have talked with you today, and you're expecting to be brought up to speed on Thursday then?
Yes, sir. And as they mentioned in their presentation of their intent to partner, they had a more specific date today. So our implementation was effective January 1. Reason me mentioning the needs that we have as it relates to us rolling out, that ADP module as well. And so I did get the date for Thursday, January 4th, for NFP to have the go live with their partnership.
So if that does in fact go live, and if it is up and running, then the three potential partners, our three potential suppliers that we would go to next year would all be on a level playing field as far as interfacing with ADP and with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is our expectation.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Keep us posted. Thank you.
Also, if I could, Mr. Chairman, one last thing, our wellness center, to mention with one of our other high-level needs. Obviously, this is our first year, so analytics, information from our Cigna, which is who we currently have, will help us build towards looking at our ROI for the wellness center. So the selected broker that would be our expectation, as well as partnering with the HR department and that broker to provide you at the appropriate time the return on investment of our wellness center. So those, in addition to the other needs, are our needs. And so again, regardless of who you all decide for us to go in that direction, those are going to be things that are going to be critical to the HR department, in addition to city leadership, city management needs for that broker.
Austin Bing, when will we need to be making the decision?
So I will glean to you. I will tell you that this is now the season for renewal. So it is our time to have our strategic meetings as it relates to what our health insurance looks like for 2021 and all those carriers. So if we could ask that you would give us direction as soon as you're ready to. We don't want to push it any further than what we've done. We've started, in February. Obviously, with COVID, we'd had some delays, but it is a critical time for us to make that decision. So,
one other question: once y'all have that meeting Thursday, after they have their meeting, would it be possible to get a breakdown again, the comparison of the three side by side like you provided before? But that was before they did their presentation. I don't know if it'll be different or not.
I can do that for you, Mr. Chairman, but I can tell you that right now that broker comparison list from your Thursday meeting attachment has everybody on the same level playing field with this NFP ADP partnership. So we did make that update for Mayor and Council for Thursday. We would just be diving in a little deeper from an HR perspective on what we are needing and what we expect, from a broker relationship.
So you're hoping for some direction by next week at the latest?
Yes.
Is that basically, or
and
by the end of this week, or?
And I can give you an update. I do expect to have that meeting, and we will be reaching out to NFP on tomorrow to get a scheduled ASAP meeting, and I can provide any feedback to you for that meeting, from that meeting, and for you to provide to Mayor and Council if that will help you all in your decision, because I do think that's a very important meeting to have.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would offer up that you all possibly wait until July, even though it's going to extend Ms. Bing's timeline, really to understand what the transition is going to be like with NFP, with ADP, because the other companies already have that relationship and already have that experience, and we can already reach out to other municipalities where that has happened. In this instance, we don't have that experience. So I think that we need to see how those meetings go with staff so they can provide some input to you all. So it may extend it and push us a little bit, but I think we need to see how the transition goes before we make a final decision.
Okay. All right. So between now and July, we'll be hearing a little bit more. Okay. Thank you, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Bing.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
I did have a question, and you've answered them all, asked them all, Councilman Watts. I just wanted a little bit more clarity, and I believe the city manager said July, because open season, I keep saying open season.
Open enrollment, yes, ma'am.
Enrollment for, to do it's in October, but we need to make a decision before then. This is time for renewal. And I would feel more comfortable seeing how they transitioned to ADP, rather than having, saying that they're going to be equal to the other two companies that presented, because they've already had an established relationship and those procedures are in place. But this is they're mending their company, they're blending in with the ADP, they're doing a whole lot, at the same time, so simultaneously, and trying to come together with ADP and provide services to us. And in fact, some of the things that we requested, they weren't doing, but they said they'll do them now.
Yes, and that's what that meeting will be about, for us
Yes,
to.
ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that, to me, it's not just staying with the same company that we've had because we've had them historically. We need for them to provide the services because we do have choices. So that's the one thing, Mr. Chairman. And then the other one was about the Wellness Center. I know the physician that we had spoken to, that I made a decision on, is a National Guardsman. So is he going to be available? I know we had another physician. There were two that we interviewed, the top two, and so maybe they're, have an opportunity for that doctor to come in.
Yes, ma'am. With the pandemic, Dr. Nash will be on site June the 8th. So
Okay.
it was pushed back 1 week. His orders were pushed back 1 week. But we have had the chief medical officer with Care Here, which is a top medical officer from Care Here, on site with us, filling in those gaps.
Okay.
And as soon as Dr. Nash is here, we will make that announcement to the mayor and council. We're also working with city manager's assistant to create a schedule for anyone that would like to have a meet and greet in rotation at the Wellness Center, so you all can see the center and actually meet the staff, Dr. Nash and Lisa, the nurse. So that will be in 1 week from today. He will be back.
Okay, and that was going to be the other thing when you said that. I was trying to see the timeline. Usually when we have a director, they'll come forward, we ratify and all that with the council, and that was not the case. But if he can just pop in and say hello and let the council see him,
Okay.
we may have some real healthy. I know that Coach ride bikes, and he wouldn't need to go see the doctor, so he may not have an opportunity to meet him. So if he could come to a council meeting or something to speak to us.
So we can coordinate that with Care Here. I can tell you, Mayor, the schedule that we have for our wellness center would be outside of the hours of what we have right now as far as invoice services, but I'm sure he would be happy to do that. We would just coordinate that with Care Here, that he can stay later for that time to come to the council, maybe the June 11th council meeting, and make an introduction to you.
Because they're all early bird times, like 7 to 10.
Yeah, Mayor, it may be most appropriate for you all to meet him at the Wellness Center versus him coming to council meeting, because that's outside of the hours that we pay for him to Care Here. Yeah. So that's what Ms. Austin Bing is mentioning, that she's setting up a time for you all to meet him and keep in line with social distancing, and then also be able to see the facility. I mean, we can bring him in, but he's already at the facility for the time that we have him scheduled.
Okay,
Yes,
so we
ma'am.
just go in the morning to see him.
Whichever time
Yeah, whatever time
is convenient.
you all prefer.
Okay.
He's amenable too.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. All right, Councilman Watts, I appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Austin Bing.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Item B is a staff report regarding upcoming operations for the Douglasville Conference Center. Ms. Johnson will come forward and fill us in.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Jennifer.
Jennifer Johnson, 6700 Church Street. I believe they've updated your items, so you might want to refresh. They had some updates from the Governor Kemp's reopening orders, so they wanted me to just tell you that. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about the Douglasville Conference Center's reopening plan. I was going to read a little bit here first. The Douglasville Conference Center will be part of Phase 3 of the city's reopening plan, which will commence on July 1st, pursuant to Governor Kemp's reopening orders. The opening of group gathering spaces will be dependent on the gradual lifting of group size restrictions and will require strict compliance with established social distancing guidelines. Gathering shall mean more than 25 persons physically present at a single location. If to be present, persons are required to stand or be seated within 6 feet of any person. Therefore, groups of more than 25 people are permitted if their grouping is transitory or incidental, or if their grouping is the result of being spread across more than one single location. For the conference center, obviously we're in June. Today we did have a blood drive. It actually was going on when you all came in. So there's nothing else booked in June. in July, there is small events that we do have. We have a small children's camp, a wedding, and then some 4 small meetings, hopefully below 50 people or so. But right now, we're still waiting on the updates from the governor's office, hopefully to go above more than 25 people. I can probably update you again in July once we have those numbers. August, we've had no cancellations. All events in August are still booked. We have 5 weddings. Some of them have moved from the spring, and some of them we already had booked. But like I said, hopefully we can update you further once we get more guidelines from the governor's office. Some safety measures that we put in place for the conference center. They'll have mandatory temperature checks upon entry into the conference center, including employees. Anyone with a fever of 100.4 or more will not enter the building. Required registration list of every event 48 hours prior to event start. Follow-up from patrons after event. If someone tests positive for COVID, we'll be able to notify the patrons that were here at the conference center. So hopefully with conferences and meetings, we'll be able to keep track of everybody's address and phone numbers if there was a positive case. While conducting facility tours, employees will wear masks. We actually already had 2 tours last week, and everything went well. Everyone wore their mask and took their temperatures with no problems. Hand sanitizing stations will be in every room and throughout the building. Installation of protective screens are at the front desk, and elimination of paper contracts will also take place. So everything that we do will be emailed to the customer online, and also we'll do credit card payments over the phone. This will help with us touching paperwork and then their credit cards. Let's see, all group events adhere to the limit numbers of patrons set forth by the governor, 50% of the fire capacity occupancy, and no more than 2 events at one time. So here on the list, you'll see the meeting rooms. We've cut the meeting room occupancy pretty much in half. Meeting room 1, 58 people, where it was obviously closer to 100. Meeting room 2, 32 people. Meeting room 3, 22 people. Boardroom, only 9 people. Auditorium right now, looking at 85. And of course, after we find out more from the governor's office, maybe that will raise up to more people in the auditorium. The ballroom, same thing, no more than 100. And of course, as we get going after August 1st, unless the orders change, we'll know more with the governor's orders. The cleaning measures implemented here at the conference center will sanitize the entrance and exit doors three times per day. We'll do monthly deep cleanings, which will be a separate company that will come in and make sure they clean the conference center. We'll have normal daily cleanings, which the conference center staff will do all day, every day, 7 days a week, including, obviously, the weekends. We'll sanitize all areas, tables, and chairs after every event. Sanitizing of the sinks, faucets, toilets, dispensers, anything to do with the restrooms, and anywhere else throughout the conference center. We'll work with community relations to make sure signage is placed throughout the entire facility, noting social distancing requirements and proper hand cleansing techniques. We'll also in the lobby have floor markers for safe distancing. I wanted to update you a little bit on Proof of the Pudding. I have been in contact with them. I have weekly meetings over the phone with them to talk about procedures for food handling. Just a couple of things to go over. All servers and kitchen staff are being trained through the Serve Safe COVID training and also the sanitation basics for COVID-19. So every server, every kitchen staff will go through this mandatory training. Also, they will take new measurements for cleaning in all areas, including the kitchen. All staff will have masks, gloves, hand sanitizers will be out throughout the areas where there is food or a bar. And of course, we are working with Proof on ways how we're going to handle the food, distribute the food, and it's an ongoing thing. I meet with them weekly. The last thing I wanted to tell you that the Welcome Center opened today, and we are taking precautions there also. They're sanitizing and cleaning and making sure they're doing this several times a day. They have shields at the desk, so if a customer walks in, the staff is behind the shield at the desk. Hand sanitizer is available. Also, what they're doing is they have goodie bags with Douglasville information, Atlanta information. If the customer doesn't want to touch anything or the brochures, we do have information that we can hand to them, and they can also call and it'll be ready to go for them.
Madam Mayor, you have any questions?
Good job. No, sir, I didn't have any questions outside. I don't have the attachment, and I tried to refresh a couple of times, so I'll just make certain that I get that. When you mentioned, Ms. Jennifer, about having a wedding or something in 100 or less, the governor's order, is it 100 or less or 75?
Right now, it's 25.
25,
in
yeah.
gatherings, yes.
So they know the wedding, that they can only have 25 people at the wedding?
We've been keeping in contact with them, and hopefully, we're waiting for hopefully the orders to change.
The governor's orders don't exactly address event facilities. It addresses churches. We're hopeful that when he puts out his orders that address sporting events and festivals, it will include facilities such as event facilities like ours. It doesn't specifically. So what staff has done is tried to take a look at what he has in place for facilities, in a sense, general meeting places, and apply it here, hoping that when he does address meetings, gatherings, things that are not necessarily considered essential, that this type of facility will be included.
So the eating portion, is it going to be treated like a restaurant in that you have social distancing, even if you have 25 people that they're?
Right, I think we'll still have to social distance. If you have I'm still going through it, it's quite a bit of information, but if you have like a buffet, you'll probably be served, instead of you touching, anything at the buffet, you'll be handed a plate by the server that has gloves on and a mask on. The customer will not be touching anything. The catering company, Proof of the Pudding, will be handling everything.
Okay, and I'm talking about the people sitting, the attendees, like restaurants, you can't have, they're 6 feet apart.
Right,
People
so we'll
are
make sure, yes,
tables
ma'am,
and
I'm sorry, yes, the tables, we'll make sure the tables are spread out,
Okay.
yeah, throughout the ballroom, yes.
And so they know it's 25 or less unless the governor changes.
Correct, I'm in contact with all my events, yes, so everybody in August knows, and in July, they know also, so.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions from council? Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Madam Mayor, that's all I had.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. Now, we have item 22, comments from citizens and delegates. If you have lasted and stayed through the meeting and you'd like to address us, please come forward to give us your name and address for the record. First, I'll ask Ms. Jackson, do we have anyone on the phone? Okay. Thank you so much, Assistant City Manager. And I think we do have a comment from a citizen in the community, and you can come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to address the council.
Hello, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
The name is Marshall Phipps. My address is 79 Brookside Court in Villa Rica. I came to give you all a general update on my project at Hunter Park. As you know, it's been a while since I've been back here due to the whole COVID-19 situation, but I just want to give you all an update on what's going on my end. I have recently finished off my preliminary plans for the redevelopment of the railroad at Hunter Park. I have also noticed that the old tracks have been removed at the park. I'm guessing that was done as a liability issue, which is good because that can help me better draft out my plans for the new layout. I'm still trying to assemble a team for my nonprofit, since there needs to be a specific amount of people on the team so it could be properly registered with the IRS. And hopefully soon I could get some renderings done as soon as we get the money available. But so far things are going smoothly, and it's just going to take me a little bit more time to get things done. But hopefully by the end of the year I can finally get the organization registered as a nonprofit with both the federal government and state government, and I can move forward from there.
Okay, so if Hunter Park is not available, do you have your plans that you can take and apply to another park, like a Patton, that you can take and have the train done in another facility?
Well, that would be a bit tricky since I already got the official logo done, which states Hunter Park in the name, and I still do think that Hunter Park is a viable option given how much space there is, and we could work with the pre-existing layout. I've talked to park staff about it. They're unaware of any other plans with a train, but I have contacted a railroad museum in Alabama, and they're going to help arrange for the transport of the original train cars that belongs to the diesel engine. They're going to put in a safe space for the time being until we can raise the funds to bring them to Douglasville and have those restored.
Okay, I'm just saying, always have a plan B. You never know. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from citizens and delegates?
Good evening,
Good evening.
Madam Chair and fellow council. Name's Larry Pierce, 4120 Van Sant Road. Usually when you get up here, you have good things and bad things. I like to cover the bad things first. While everybody was marching Sunday, I was in the Chattahoochee River with my gasoline-powered mower, not worried about a thing. But about a year ago, I think I said something about the road I live on. The road I live on is Van Sant Road. It's a little cut-through. If you want to get to Greystone or one of the churches, you zippy-doo from 92 at the first light when you cross 20, and you go up that little road. It's only about a quarter mile long. You can't even run radar.
It's in the county though, right?
Well, yes and no. That's part of my gripe. The 300 feet on my property is about the second property from the corner of Midway. And it's nicely striped, and the white lines are on it, right to the corner where I am, right here. From there down where the metal company is, and the other company, the metal company used to be the old skating ring, and the metal company, and to the little bridge that people don't know is there, in the curve, nothing. The road drops off. I've run off the road 2 or 3 times, and I just grab hold of the van. Nothing there. Never been anything there. Been washed out long time ago. Semi-trucks come down there. It's a cut-through road for legal and illegal trucks, okay? By illegal, I mean big semi-trucks. They come down there. So how about taking a look at it when you get a chance? I'm the Good Samaritan who cuts the brush away from the bridge. The bridge is less than 18 foot long. Actually, I don't want to tell nobody, but school buses aren't supposed to cross it, but I won't tell God. So the thing about it is that there's debris on this side and this side, so you squeeze in. And whoever's first to the bridge, they win. There's only one railing. The other railing was knocked off about 15, 20 years ago by a car that went down in the creek. So y'all take a look at that, because no one lives there but 4 people. Me and Wicks and another guy, and Miss Alma Wicks used to live next door. And that's it. So nobody cares, okay? I've been there since 74. But it's a quickie road. All right, now to the good things. The good thing is that if y'all had 10 people like him, at 22 years old, he is full of enthusiasm because nobody's cut him down. The man has spent $500 of his own money. He loves trains, and he's full of enthusiasm. I'm telling you, he's got more enthusiasm and talent and maturity that most of us have in a lifetime. But I'd like for y'all to try to help him. Mark, I just heard that you're in charge of finance. He spent $500 of his own money, not counting the trips he made to Alabama, not counting he and I find in the mountaintop where the junk was, the junk that belongs to the city that they gave up 10 years ago. So there might be another plan that he has about things, and maybe the old depot can come back that's sitting out on Chapel Hill Road. Maybe it can come back. Maybe the park that you're fixing up in the Mill Village. Maybe the Mill Village can become something. Maybe the houses that are good and the houses that are falling down can be fixed up. I don't really know. But let me say this. When people are trying to do something and they don't get paid for it, you can't buy people like him. He's 22. He'd rather spend his money on something for y'all than a date. At 22, that's impossible. So do something and help him. He's not up here to beg about anything, but my goodness alive, he's made drawings, he's done this and that, and he just told me a while ago $500 he spent. $500 the 22-year-old spent on the city? Okay. So maybe someone can help him with a grant. Maybe there's grants. I know y'all got a grant person They got one in the county, okay? So try to think about that. Try to help out. I'm doing whatever I can to, he calls me every now and then, but he doesn't need my enthusiasm. I can speak on behalf of what he does or what he tries to do.
Yes,
I went
sir.
to Alabama to find junk with him, and we hit pay dirt. We found other stuff that you can't believe was there.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Thank you,
So,
Mr. Pierce.
So y'all help out, and Mr. Adams, you help out.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pierce. We appreciate your comments.
I'm gonna come back.
Any other comments from citizens or delegates? Okay, any other business to come? Is anything else coming for council this evening from council members or anyone? Okay, not seeing any then, this meeting is adjourned.